Because the AMPTP remains unwilling to offer a fair deal on key issues essential to protecting the livelihoods of working actors and performers, SAG-AFTRA's national board unanimously voted to issue a strike order against the studios and streamers. From the time negotiations began on June 7th, SAG-AFTRA staff and the members of our negotiating committee have worked overtime, devoting their evenings, weekends, and holidays to achieving a deal that would ensure a sustainable future for the acting profession. But despite our team's efforts, the AMPTP has remained steadfast in its commitment to devaluing the work of our members. Due to the broad nature of our membership, this strike does not affect all members of all contract areas, just those working under the 2020 TV theatrical contract. Performers working in interactive entertainment, audiobooks, music, commercials, and other contract areas will not be directly impacted. The strike will begin at midnight tonight, and all of us, union members, leadership, and staff, will be out on the picket lines tomorrow morning.
I went in earnest, thinking that we would be able to avert a strike. The gravity of this move is not lost on me or our negotiating committee or our board members who have voted unanimously to proceed with a strike. It's a very serious thing that impacts thousands, if not millions of people all across this country and around the world. Not only members of this union, but people who work in other industries that service the people that work in this industry. And so it came with great sadness that we came to this crossroads, but we had no choice. We are the victims here. We are being victimized by a very greedy entity. I am shocked by the way the people that we have been in business with are treating us. I cannot believe it, quite frankly, how they plead poverty, that they're losing money left and right when giving hundreds of millions of dollars to their CEOs. It is disgusting. Shame on them. They stand on the wrong side of history at this very moment. The entire business model has been changed by streaming, digital, AI. This is a moment of history that is a moment of truth. If we don't stand tall right now, we are all going to be in trouble. We are all going to be in jeopardy of being replaced by machines and big business. Who cares more about Wall Street than you and your family? Most of Americans don't have more than $500 in an emergency. This is a very big deal, and it weighed heavy on us. But at some point, you have to say, no, we're not going to take this anymore. You people are crazy. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Privately, they all say we're the center of the wheel. Everybody else tinkers around our artistry, but actions speak louder than words. And there was nothing there. It was insulting. We're not going to keep doing incremental changes on a contract that no longer honors what is happening right now with this business model that was foisted upon us. What are we doing? Moving around furniture on the Titanic? It's crazy. So the jig is up, AMPTP. We stand tall. You have to wake up and smell the coffee. We are labor and we stand tall and we demand respect and to be honored for our contribution. You share the wealth because you cannot exist without us. Thank you.
In that groundbreaking AI proposal, they proposed that our background performers should be able to be scanned, get paid for 1 day's pay, and their company should own that scan, their image, their likeness, and should be able to use it for the rest of eternity in any project they want with no consent and no compensation. So if you think that's a groundbreaking proposal, I suggest you think again.
They weren't really ready to get to the core issues, and we were encouraged, quite frankly. But we didn't realize that that was where it ended, where it began and ended. And all the core ingredients, we were basically either stonewalled or we're so far apart that, it was just, and in earnest, we gave them an extension of 12 days, which they absolutely wasted, making us feel like we've been duped. Like maybe it was just to let studios promote their summer movies another 12 days. They stayed locked behind closed doors. They continued to cancel our meetings with them. We thought, well, maybe they're really getting into it. But then what we ultimately received from them was what my mom would call a leck and a schmeck.
The concept of this proposal, which was actually inspired by Fran, was that we would receive a percentage of streaming subscription revenue, and that streaming subscription revenue would be divided up by project based on the project's contribution to the success of that streaming service. Now, as I'm sure many of you who follow the industry know, the streamers are famous for not sharing information, being non-transparent. And since we knew that they wouldn't want to share any kind of viewership success data, we went and found another source for that data from a particular company in the industry, an analytics company. And then instead of engaging with the proposal, discussing it with us, making any counter proposal, trying to figure out if there was a way to get to agreement, what they did is launch an attack on that company, trying to claim that that company doesn't have, good quality or whatever else. Again, not legitimate at all. This was their distraction tactic to try to avoid engaging on a totally legitimate proposal. And from day 1 to day 35 of these negotiations, we never got any substantive response to that proposal. And it's just part of the larger story of the companies refusing to engage with legitimate proposals and refusing to do what it takes to try and make a deal. They are well aware of what it takes to make a deal. Fran and I personally spoke to several of the CEOs of these studios yesterday, and at length. They know what it will take to make a deal. They had the power in their hands to make a deal and avoid this strike. They chose not to do that. And last night, we told the AMPTP directly across the table, we're ready, willing, and able to return to the negotiating table whenever they're ready to do so. Their response to us was that they would be ready to talk whenever we would act in a civilized manner, not be on strike. We told them that it's not uncivilized for people to go on strike. It's a moral right, it's a human right, and it's a legal right of our members to collectively bargain, to organize, and to go on strike if needed to defend their rights, and that we will be happy to approach them and negotiate with them whenever they're ready to do so. We were then later informed that it would probably be a while. So we will be here doing what we need to do to defend our members and to ensure we get a fair contract. And we encourage them to come back to the table because we're ready to talk whenever they are.
I had only met Kim seconds before that publicity picture was taken. It had nothing to do with being at a party or having fun. It was absolute work. I was in hair and makeup 3 hours a day, walking in heels on cobblestones, doing things like that, which is work, not fun. I'm sure Kim would have rather have been at her home in Malibu with her children too, but we work. That's what we do. And at 10:30 at night, I would leave the event. I would go to my hotel room and I'd call into the Zoom. And when I couldn't get through to them because I was on a plane, I was texting with them constantly throughout the plane ride. I worked around the clock in 3 different time zones because my parents live in Florida, though I keep asking them to move here. And I managed their well-being as well. So, I think that all of the people standing behind me stand behind me.